planning the audit. The terms of the audit should be clearly established, right? And this is where, so what are some of the things that happen under planning? When we say planning the audit, right? Here you carry out a risk assessment. You do a preliminary risk on fraud, preliminary risk on fraud. You try to understand the entity. Very, very important. This is where you understand the entity. This here to you lay out the terms of the audit. It should be stated clearly. So what does it mean? So when you take, for example, 1, the terms of the audit should be clearly established. This should mean that there's a need to establish clearly the subject, scope, and objectives of the audit, access to data, the report that will result from the audit, etc. When you take understanding the entity, you want to know their nature, the kind of activities they carry. When you look at risk assessment, you want to understand any risk of different types, any deficiencies, deviations, etc. When you look at fraud, this is where you take on your professional skeptic cap and you are led to any possibility of fraud. When you move on to conducting an audit, you have sufficient and appropriate evidence. You are conducting the audit, so you need evidence, right? And we talked about sufficiency of the audit and appropriateness. Just sufficient is quantity, appropriate is quality. Here again, we have the methods of obtaining audit evidence. Please remember, number 1 is what? Inspection. I said this is very, very important. So I repeat it over and over again. Number 1 is what? Inspection. Number 2, observation. Number 3, inquiry. Number 4, confirmation, recalculation, reperformance, analytical procedures. You see, they've mentioned all of them here. This is how you obtain your audit evidence. These are the audit procedures. Audit procedures. Now you evaluate the evidence. You evaluate the evidence.